Welcome to the Mood Don't Steal My Vibe podcast. My name is Todd Inman, and welcome to the show. So, the Mood Don't Steal My Vibe podcast is really about a few things. One, it gives us as a mood disorder community a safe place, a place where we can be vulnerable and transparent, and gives us really an idea of trying to explain how we can redefine success for our community and what we actually have a condition like, right? And then secondly, we want to rebuild and rebrand our lives. So with that being said, what qualifies me as a person who can speak to this and host a show like this? I have a mood disorder, and it's characterized by depression as well as mania. And mania would be an elevated idea of who you are, what you can do, very racing thoughts, just overall a very grandiose concept of life. And of course, that can cause problems because you are above the normal range of thinking. So it can lead to a lot of irrational decisions that when your mind becomes normalized, you decide, oh my gosh, where am I and what am I doing and what have I got myself into? So with that being said, this show is really an opportunity for us to come together and to understand that we are different and to not compare ourselves to our normal thinking friends, right? And peer group. Oftentimes, let's just compare ourselves to people with physical disabilities. Those people don't decide to compete with people who have normal functioning limbs and bodies, right? So there's such thing as the Paralympics, okay? So people with, for example, say one leg compete with other people with limitations. And so that's a fair race. That's a fair competition. Also people with, let's say in wheelchairs, they compete with other people with wheelchairs. Now, if those same people try to compete with people with two limbs, and fully functioning bodies, they're not going to win. It's just impossible. They cannot keep up with world class athletes who are fully functioning. Well, the same thing should really apply to people with mood disorders. We have a disability, whether we want to accept it or not. But it puts us in a situation where oftentimes we fall behind our normal thinking peers. So, for example, if you're a person that has suffered from depression, there are periods where you felt so low that maybe you couldn't get out of bed, maybe you couldn't study, maybe you couldn't attend the group projects because you were feeling so low. So obviously your grades are going to reflect that. So it might take you an additional semester, an additional year, additional even 2 years to graduate from college or even high school. So that's something that, we ought not to compare ourselves and feel badly that we didn't complete our schooling in, let's say, 4 years of college like our peers. Maybe it took us 4.5, 5, 6 years, but at least we finished. And if we compare ourselves within our own community, then that's a fair competition. That's fair. That's something that you can be inspired by, knowing that you can still achieve and complete what you started, even though you may have fallen behind your normal thinking peers. So, with that being said, again, the physical disability community has done a great job of, understanding, hey, listen, we are different. And so we want to compare and compete in our own community and within our own community. So for us as mood disorder community, we have to do the same. And so the Mood Don't Steal My Vibe is an opportunity for us to come together, to be open, to be honest, and to cheer each other on and be inspired because, we are people who are still of value and we still contribute to this world significantly. There's a lot of famous people who had mood disorders. Whether it be Vincent van Gogh or, even from my perspective, from what I've read, people like a Steve Jobs, for instance, that he had some issues, and you see what he's been able to do with Apple and leave a tremendous legacy. So there are some advantages to having mood disorders, that we're extremely creative and innovative. And so that it puts us in another category as far as our gifts. So we ought not look at things as that, the sky is totally falling and that, we're just so different from our normal thinking peers. We still have some advantages and some things that we can contribute to the world. So with that being said, we want to continue to celebrate each other, celebrate our victories. And like I said, have more of a community condition within our community, because, again, say we don't want to get caught up comparing ourselves. I know it's easy. I have a lot of friends from college, that I'm still in touch with, and they've gone on to, do things like, have a great marriage, have a great family. They have the great career, which they've, continued to advance and get promoted. They have gone on to school, going on to get secondary degrees, advanced degrees, and different things of that nature. Just so many things that they have done. It's been a linear climb. Well, for people in the mood disorder community, and I'll speak for myself, I didn't take that climb. I actually went down. And so, it's taken time to recover, to get into the proper treatment, to be obedient to that treatment. And so now it's been a climb, but it's a steep climb. Like I said, had my life gone linear, it would have been a much more gradual climb. But because of my condition and how far I fell, it's a very steep climb. So, there's other people in our community that have a similar story. So why not come together and support each other and cheer each other on and be inspired versus thinking that, we are climbing this hill, this mountain by ourselves, because we're not. So let's come together and be a community indeed. So with that being said, this show, not only am I going to just talk about topics and give insight and things that I've learned or read that I feel like apply, but also bring on guests, people who also are within our community that are doing great things and are advancing and making things happen. Also, maybe some clinicians, some people to kind of give us from a clinical standpoint, their perspective, and maybe some tips and coping mechanisms. So I believe it'll be a great opportunity for us in the mood disorder community to come together. If you're not in the mood disorder community, but sometimes you just may have bad moods, you may want to come on and at least listen in, because we are almost professionals when it comes to dealing with moods, right? With bad moods, with elevated moods. So because we've lived it, right? And so for us, in order to be successful in this life, we've learned how to manage it. So if you are tuning in and you are a person with, not a mood disorder, then you can get a lot from us, because you're like, wow, these people are pros at what they are doing to manage their moods. So hopefully that's something that you could take some tips and use that for your own world. So anyway, we're excited, and please tune in weekly and support the channel. And you'll find us on YouTube. You'll find some clips on social media. And, hopefully even add us to your favorite podcast system that you use. So thank you. Again, my name is Todd Inman. So excited to talk to everybody and be a big force in this community. Peace.